Welcome back for another episode, Spirit Bus 33 fam. Jyotishamara here, once again, excited to take a little trip with you, expanding our consciousness, learning how to become our favorite versions of ourselves, living more in the now, all while embarking on this wild, wondrous earth experience. Join me each week-ish as we evolve together, exploring Toltec, holistic, interdimensional, Eastern, Western, spiritual-minded thinking and practices.
They're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate you tuning in. So this episode was prepped during my second Arkansas thunderstorm. I really want to call it my first, but I don't know. Day one, we arrived at a pretty intense storm that was kind of kicking right when we came in. But this is my first settled in, cozy thunderstorm. It's quite a relaxing sound. Knowing that some loud thunder is soon to follow the intense rain. Ah, there she is. 3 Mississippis away for those that grew up in the era of tracking the storm distance by 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Another day in the realm of Arkansas. So tucked in between a Waffle House and a Cracker Barrel was my next adventure at this vibey place called JB Wellness. This is another must check out if you're in this area wanting to attend to your mind, body, spirit. Check those local Facebook events for their pop-up workshops. Bring your yoga mat, comfy clothes. It's a vibe for sure. I attended an amazing chakra workshop, which it was so informative. The lady that was leading it, I wish I would have remembered her name to put this in there, but I will try to find it and put it in the details of the podcast. I'm sure based off of this, there's going to be some upcoming chakra shorts or episodes. But for now, okay, back to our third episode, diving into reality transurfing, created by William Zealand. If you're just tuning in, so maybe listen to the last couple episodes if you'd like to kind of catch up. Or if you want to be a G, you could go all the way back to the beginning of my podcast and listen all the way through. Some of the earlier episodes are on Spotify. If you want to help my podcast grow, please subscribe, like, share, comment. And, just like a little visualization here is it's as if you're coming to my art studio and you're looking at all of my paintings, except for they're just in words. Okay, so transurfing recap. You reflect what you're choosing to experience. The alternative space contains all that was and all that can be. Every organism alive is creating reality. We often get attached to large forces, and these forces gain strength off of attention, negative or positive. They are called pendulums. And often their powers get distorted and wrapped up in greed and all of these negative things, which promotes division. In us versus them type of culture, they award conformity. Even at an individual's expense. So destructive pendulums, they often lead to people being very happy, discontent, having regret. Okay, so how do we stop this? Remember, complaining, bitching, spending your energy on the pendulum that you're not aligned with makes it stronger. So, first, some radical acceptance. Who knew that some DBT skills would come in clutch here? What is in your circle of control? Think about this when it comes to this pendulum. What's in your circle of control? Well, really only your attention. So radically accept that this pendulum, it's swinging hard, and you can decline to do the dance with it. When you notice that the pendulum is there, enter in frustration, enter in fear, shame. That gives it energy. That keeps the pendulum alive in your body, in your nervous system. The aim, delete, delete, delete. Okay, so side note here. These are powerful words. You catch yourself saying something negative about yourself, pause, say out loud, delete, delete, delete. Start again. You don't resonate with the tone that you had, acknowledge, make amends, delete, delete, delete. Vadim shares, to eliminate something from your life, ignore it. Do not avoid it. There's a difference. He shares when you avoid something, it means that you have let it into your personal space but are not actively trying to get rid of it. To ignore something means not to react to it, and consequently, its presence in your space leaves. So that reminds me, that ties me back to some Sanaya Roman again. So change the radio station, right? You know that all of the stations exist. We're not trying to say that these other stations don't exist, but we can ignore the ones that we're not aligned with and tune into the ones that we are. I love Vadim's analogy here. My own words, but his gist, the gist of what he was saying. If you're going to take a walk, you need to have some energy to manage dogs barking. If you ignore a dog barking, they move their attention elsewhere. If you react or even show you're actively trying to avoid it or fear, they bark louder. So, taking the dog analogy a bit further, if you react or avoid your energy in some way, your energy is going to shift. You're using your energy to react, you're using your energy to avoid, so likely it's going to get drained due to spikes in the fear, the concern, frustration, cortisol. Remember that bucket of energy that you have each day? So here's that dog barking, and here's your big reaction to it. And the energy starts to kind of leak out of the little hole in the bucket. So as I'm having this thought, I'm thinking about something similar that happened to me yesterday. So I was heading out of my Airbnb, and not too far away was a dog off kind of across the lot, I would say. And he didn't have a leash on. And at first glance, I would say that this dog was kind of posturing at me. Second glance, I think that's just kind of what, like a pit mix. I don't know if it was mixed, but there was pit bull in it. They just kind of stand in kind of a posturing way. So my first instinct was avoid. Go back inside. You don't have to leave until that dog's gone. But that would mean that my day was getting hijacked by fear. So I practiced ignoring. It was all good right until I about shimmied into the car. And then I observed that I did that with this kind of like slight urgency. And I could feel that because of the rush to get in the car, the grab of, the long sweater thing that I was wearing and the shutting of the door. And I could feel a little ding to my energy level, a little burst of fear at the end. It wasn't enough for like complete shutdown. Reminder here, is when we get activated in the sympathetic nervous system response and we get too high, the parasympathetic nervous system will eventually turn on, and you can kind of go into that deep parasympathetic freeze, that shutdown. You might feel like you need to take a nap. So this was a great opportunity for me to recognize the difference between avoidance, ignore, and to continue to learn to balance my energy. Because as I took a look around, once I was in the car, that dog was nowhere to be found. It had ran off. Maybe the owner called it. I don't know. But that little burst of fear getting into the car, that was my own response, that there was no threat there. So I'm not advocating by any means to take this analogy and go put yourself in, fearful circumstances and practice this. Of course, use your intuition before you engage in any type of practice, but it's important to observe ourselves when things kind of come up automatically. Vadim also describes using visualization techniques. So, example, maybe you pay to attend an event and one of the hosts appears to be misaligned with their co-host. You can tell because there's these slight face expressions that kind of give it away, these slight reactions when the co-host is talking. So you kind of observe their frustration, and instead of leaning into that, you start to use the visualization and you visualize a white light circling their body, providing them with the ability to communicate their needs at the end of the event or when the event's over. You then visualize them finding peaceful resolution. So this completely ignores the drama, ignores continuous assumptions, and you're getting caught up in this negative pendulum that could potentially be all assumption completely, but you are providing this visualization technique, which is going to add some peace and serenity to not only your own experience, but to their experience as well. Your energy will be felt rippled out in different ways. So another pendulum stopper is to enter in, another DBT skill here, stop. The skill stop is slow down, take a pause, observe, proceed mindfully. So this allows us to keep our frontal lobe turned on, keep it working in a really optimal way. It's using mindfulness to slow it on down. This helps us be able to find solutions. So a lot of pendulums, they swing outside of solutions. They operate in fear and confusion and stress. A solution can stop a pendulum altogether. Vadim shares, remember that the pendulums want to take you by the hand and lead you into this complex labyrinth. So what if you say, well, I'm not seeing any unaligned pendulums in my reality? Vadim shares to look out for what is called a suspended state. He uses the description of a desert for this. So as I'm speaking, just kind of visualize yourself standing in this desert. He's describing becoming so disconnected that the person is only surrounded in their own world. Some might say, Ballin, amazing. That's what I want. And that's okay. If you're aligned with that, you can have that. He calls it almost its own pendulum right there. But another perspective, we're kind of here having an earth experience, right? Spiritual beings having an earth experience. So, what if in that desert visualization, what if we enter in our own personal pendulums. Now, these are pendulums that give you energy, joy, expansion. They're amazing gifts while you're here. And as you're visualizing what that might be, maybe journal about it, is slow down, ask yourself this question though. Are they yours? Or are they who you told you knew that you needed to be? Is it a pendulum that was given to you by somebody else? An example from my life, my podcast is a positive pendulum for me. Do I enjoy that people listen? Of course, that's groovy. Am I going to stop if someone has a negative remark or it isn't supportive? No, this is my pendulum. I feel aligned. This supports my purpose, which that's not tied to another person's opinion. It's my art, it's my expression. So, what pendulums do you have? So, take time, journal, dig deep, explore your lifeline because it's a choice. I used to have fear of quote unquote them when I said, your life and what you make of it is a choice. But what about these people, those people? There are always comments from people that are not that person. To me, that's getting stuck in a pendulum, always ready to fight for them, but maybe not even knowing them, stereotyping them to help you feel righteous. Oh, ties right back into the first Transurfing episode. Pendulums leave most virtue signaling people to sit in their righteousness, which takes energy from building your own personal pendulums. A 3-card reading from the Osho deck, going with the flow. Learning to flow in your own pendulum. You're not getting caught up in the rapids of other people's pendulums. You're noticing that they're there. You're not getting sucked into them because you're going with the flow. You're in your own lane. You're able to see other pendulums. You're able to have conversations. You're able to see differences. Second card, totality, is you know that you're your own safety net. You know that ultimately, this earth experience, that we create our own safety net by creating our own pendulums. If we start playing in other people's pendulums and we live there and we're talking about other people's pendulums and then something happens to us, where's our own safety net? We're too busy focusing on them. It doesn't mean that you can't do, whatever action steps you want to do to make this world a better place. It's making sure that you're not forgetting about your own pendulums, your own earth experience. Last card, playfulness. I'm very excited that this card popped up. And of course, I'm going to mention it probably my next episode because I attended another event in Russellville, Arkansas. I mean, another incredible event, but it definitely brought about the need to have more playfulness. So I'm not surprised that this is repeating because we don't need to get wrapped up in pendulums of that we need to take this so serious that it drains our energy and we become very rigid and black and white thinking and we have a really difficult time navigating this experience. We can frolic. We can explore. We can be adventurers. It's an important part. That joyful, playful energy. Humor me right now. Just think about it. Move your shoulders, that joyful. Move your arms, that playful. Just kind of wiggle your body a little bit. You can kind of feel the energy, moving around in your body instead of getting contained in this one place. You can feel, even if it is some uncomfortable energy, you can feel it kind of moving out. Is giving yourself the opportunity to play. Giving yourself the opportunity to play and feel all the emotions. This doesn't just mean in only this positive way, like I'm going to only play with the joy, is an amazing gift of expression that I witnessed. Was you can also play with your anger. Stomp your feet. Say it out loud while you're angry. Like move it out of your body. It can still have a playful energy to it. And it's okay to step out of the playfulness and just to step into that. But don't forget to have the playfulness part of your pendulums. It's a fun vibration. It definitely can lift us out of some of the darker, denser, more shadowy types of experiences that we have here. Okay, so more sharing about more adventures from Arkansas coming up, and also more reality transurfing. Thank you for being here and taking a little ride on this bus. I appreciate you. To everyone that's listening, what an honor to have this opportunity, to have this ability, to have people visit my pendulum. It's just amazing. I appreciate you. See you next time.